Are you a woman trying to build muscle but want to avoid building big traps? Watch this.
Our next caller is Carrie from China.
Hey, Carrie, how can we help you?
Hey guys, this is so cool. So my question is, I've been lifting for many years, and recently bought a bunch of MAPS programs, and I'm finding that there are quite a few shrugs and bicep curls and calf raises in some of the programs, and I was wondering, what are the benefits to these movements beyond growing my traps and my biceps and my calves, because these aren't target areas for me. So so I'm just wondering, should I skip them, or should I try to modify the volume in some way, or would that mess with the programming somehow? Could I replace them with other movements for target areas that I am trying to grow? Because I know that all the movements are kind of put together, with a long-term plan. So I wasn't sure if changing them for completely different movements that target different body parts would impact the programming.
Yeah, really good question. Okay, so I'll answer the first part. But I mean, the basic answer is to strengthen those areas, right? So shrugs help strengthen the shoulder girdle, helps provide stability for the shoulders. Obviously, works those trap muscles as well.
Okay.
Biceps, I mean, you're strengthening the arms. The biceps are an important muscle to have to be strong. Calf raises, same thing with the calf area. Now, can you, if you feel those areas are strong and stable, can you cut the volume or even eliminate exercises, or those exercises, and replace them with others? Yeah, you totally can. Like, your biceps are going to get stronger just from doing back exercises. Your traps will get more stable and strong from doing a lot of overhead presses and rows. And if your calves, if you do a lot of walking, and you're going to get some stabilization with your calves with other lower body exercises. So you can take those exercises out or just reduce the volume and replace them with target areas. But I would caution people listening, if you need strength in those areas, don't just think of it from an aesthetic standpoint. Because I've had women say, I don't want to work my biceps because I don't want big arms, but they're not in a place where they think they have big arms now. So, well, strengthen those anyways. And when you get to the point where you're like, okay, I don't want this muscle to get any more developed, then it's okay to cut it out. So remember, the strength is the most important thing that we want. So, but you can definitely cut those out or reduce them and replace with other stuff.
Well, especially these three, in my opinion, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about prime movers, right? She's not trying to drop the back.
Like presses.
These are all the ones we're trying to sneak in at the end.
Yeah. So this is an example of like where if you were a client of mine, we would have gone through like MAPS Prime, so I could have assessed your movement and your posture. And this is a perfect example of where I would probably drop those exercises and then put in something that I think would benefit your overall posture or something, right? So like, I don't know if you've gone through the MAPS Prime yet or not. Justin?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. So I don't know how well you did on zone 1, zone 2, or zone 3, but let's just say, for example, you failed zone 1 pretty bad. So this is where I might put in a movement that's going to, work on that to benefit that, which is in prime, like a fortification exercise. I might slide that into the workout here. So there's an example, or if there was a specific body part that we're trying to work on that you feel is lagging, I might put that in there. Although I do know that in MAP, you have the RGB, so MAPS aesthetic is what when we really get into focusing on body parts. I would more than likely either do a corrective exercise right here that I think will benefit your overall posture, or potentially even a mobility movement in this place where, let's say you have a real hard time with getting deep squats. And it's ankle mobility is the reason for it. And so if you were training with me for that hour and then we come up on the bicep section, we wouldn't do that. We would get down and I do some combat stretching with you just to build that into a routine for you. So this is how I would modify in a situation like that if you were an actual client.
Yeah, but to Sal's point in terms of strengthening the shoulder girdle, because I've gotten that criticism a few times with women for the shrugs, because it's just not like a typical exercise women are pursuing for the most part. But in terms of strengthening your upper back and also that feeding into the stability and keeping your shoulders in track, there's a lot of functional benefit to it as well as strengthening it.
Okay, that's good to know. Actually, I seem to have maybe hurt my shoulder a little bit recently, and maybe it's because I've been skipping the shrugs. So,
Okay.
yeah, okay, should I? Sorry.
Go. I was gonna say, you do them light, do them real slow and controlled. Maintain good posture while you do them, and then when you do your shoulder exercises, same thing. Like maintain good form, good technique, and try to find a way to move within the form where it feels good. And if that means you need to cut the weight way down, then so be it.
Now, Carrie, I see that you bought all these programs. Have you actually gone all the way through a program yet, from beginning to end yet, or are you just getting started?
I've done performance and anabolic, and I just started aesthetic. But then I went on holiday for a couple weeks, and I'm gonna have to start over again.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's some other things here, because you did performance, so you get the mobility thing that I was saying there. So if there was something in performance that you felt you got great benefits from, that was like maybe part of a mobility session, or say like a Z press exercise, like an exercise that you're like, oh, that really, like this is where this is where we try and teach people. Like we always tell people, like follow everything to a T at least once, so you get the gist of the programming and why we do everything. And then let's say when you're coming back around and now you're an anabolic and you're like, man, I don't want all this trap work here, but boy, when I was doing that Z press in performance, my shoulders felt good. I felt the core stability. And so then I take that and I'm going to put it in right there. Right. So you can use the other programs, or let's say, I think you have strong also. We're bringing up traps. There's farmer walks in that program.
Yeah.
That's a great exercise. It's going to do what Justin and Sal are talking about, the shoulder girdle and stability in the shoulder. And so you really liked that. And it's not like directly working on hypertrophy for the traps, but it is giving you those benefits. Yeah, it's giving you the benefits that they're talking about. So this is how we start to kind of mold and play with some of the things in the other programs, and then put them in and replace some movements like that.
Carrie, I want to ask you a question. How do you listen to us in China? Because I've had other people say that they can't access our show because of the platforms being blocked and stuff. Is there a specific platform? Or if you don't want to answer, you don't have to, by the way, but just out of curiosity.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah. No, it's a bit iffy. So sometimes it's easy to download, sometimes it's not, but I'm using the Apple platform, just Apple podcast. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Spotify just doesn't work at all. I can't listen to, I can listen to music, but I can't listen to podcasts. I don't know why.
Okay.
And sometimes I need a VPN.
Yeah.
But not always. So I don't really understand.
All right, good deal. Well, we're not fully banned yet, boys. We got to try harder.
No, you're not fully banned. But I do sometimes sneak across the Great Firewall to catch up on your Instagram. So.
Well,
I got my illegal contraband mind pump over here.
Oh God, I love you. Thank you so much.
And I want to thank you guys. Yeah, you guys have brought me a lot of joy. I've been listening for 4 years. You're in my ear every day, so
hell yeah,
brought me a lot of joy. I've learned a lot from the show, not just about fitness, but just about life in general, entrepreneurship especially. It's really cool listening to you guys every day.
Oh well, thank you so much, Carrie. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Very helpful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bro, how cool is that you gotta get a VPN and you gotta sneak mind pump in so you can listen to us.
Such a rebel. I love it.
That makes me so happy. It also highlights how hard it is to control, that kind of stuff in the age of technology.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But she has a very common question, and I've worked with women who genuinely strong, genuinely said, oh, my traps are a little overdeveloped, and so we kind of cut those out. But it's usually not the case. Usually they're just afraid of the exercise, but you're not going to work out a muscle and wake up the next day with it being overdeveloped. So my advice is always, train every muscle. And then if you are lucky enough to get to the point where a muscle's really developed, and you're like, this is as far as I want to go, then you can back off. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, that was the reason why I asked if she had gone through any of our programs all the way through.
Yeah,
I think that
I figured
that recommendation is pretty consistent from us, right? Like,
you have a baseline of
follow to, because to your point again, you're not going to wake up overnight and have massive traps or biceps. You're not even going to go through an entire MAPS anabolic program and wake up and have massive traps or biceps from that, especially as a female. So going through that, I would still recommend a client to do it so they can just feel it. Like, how did you feel at the end of it? And maybe she's an anomaly and she already had big traps or biceps going in, and it made it feel like it was more. Then I say, okay, next time when we go through, we put that Z press in there, or we do that combat stretch, or we replace it with another movement or exercise that will benefit her overall goals.